Hey there, Tom here from FIBONACCI'S.com here with the weekly market review. I hope everybody's enjoying this weekend so far. Without any further ado, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends. Let's see the charts. SPY weekly, 5 weeks in a row. This area of the 416, 415, very tough resistance. Only by looking left we can identify and understand why this area is a tough resistance. Since May of 2022, each and every time SPY tried to break up and above, it got rejected, except over here during August, but very fast went back below this area. Overall, SPY is in an uptrend because we have higher lows, but until this area will not break to the upside, at least 1 or 2 weeks above this area, bulls might give up. If bulls will give up, we are going back to the 404, 403 area over here. Below that, in my opinion, we are going to test this trend line. And of course, everything you see in here on this video and on my channel is for educational purposes only. It's only my opinion. You can get ideas, but in the end of the day, it's up to you. Do your own due diligence. QQQ, same thing. As we can see, this area of the 321, 327, very tough resistance. Look left, and you can see why. Just draw a line on an area like this. Now you can see all this area from support, resistance, resistance. Breaking up and above, look left, where price might be heading next. Over here to the 330. Breaking down and under, if bulls will give up, we are going back to the 312. Look left, where price came from, and from there you can know with high probability where price might be heading next. IWM, as we can see, since March, basically 2 months of sideways move between the 170 and the 180, short below the 170 towards 163, long in my opinion only above 180. IWM, many regional banks are in the Russell 2000. This is why we don't have much of a move on the IWM. Dow Jones, trend lines are the true support resistance for price action. This white trend line goes all the way back to January of 2022, and since then, very tough resistance for the lower highs. Past week, inside candle, indecision in the market for the Dow, short below the 330 towards this red trend line. Breaking below this red trend line, we are going to the 313, long above the 343 towards 355 and then 360. SOXX, semiconductors ETF, uptrend until proven otherwise, but as we can see in the past 4 or 5 weeks, we have dojis after doji, inside candles, indecision in the market for the semiconductors ETF. Long continuation above the 420, short position, we might start below 400 and below this red trend line. Oil, crude, inside candle, in my opinion, going back to the downside, retesting this 64, and then we see where price might be heading up next. Natural gas, nothing much on the natural gas. We have support at the 207, 205 area, all this red trend line. Resistance, we have the 244, 245. Resistance, as we can see, failed to close above, failed, and here it was support. Breaking up and above, we are going to the 260 and above it, 282 and maybe all the way to 3. But as long as we don't have a weekly close above the 244, 245, nothing much on the natural gas. XLF going back to retest the 30 area, in my opinion, of course, and then we will see what will happen with the XLF. For now, downtrend on XLF until proven otherwise. We can take, of course, Fibonacci, swing low, swing high, swing low, and as we can see, 31, 32 area support. Below it, we're going to the 30-50. Long above 33.60 towards 35 and maybe 37. XLE still holding this uptrend blue line that helps us to identify the higher lows, but for now XLE is in a downtrend, short continuation below this blue trend line and below the 77 and then 73 and 68. Long bounce, we can take another trend line only above this white trend line. Maybe we will have some consolidation until we'll get a break to downside or to the upside. Prepare for both sides because no one really knows where price might be heading next. Long above the white, short continuation below the blue. Bitcoin on the weekly, bulls are trying to survive above the 26,500, but as we can see, all this area, the 28 towards the 30, very tough resistance. If bulls will give up, we are going towards the 23,500 and then 21,700. Closing a week or two above the 30 area, above this area, the 3,600, we are going towards the 37. Ethereum, uptrend until proven otherwise. This white trend line helps us to identify the higher lows. This white trend line helps us to identify the higher highs. This is our roadmap for future price action on Ethereum. And until proven otherwise, as long as this lower trend line is holding, we are in an uptrend. Uptrend continuation above the 1950. As we can see, 3 weeks. This area is a very tough resistance. Long above, short below this white trend line and below the 1700s. So far, if you find this video helpful, please hit a like, subscribe, share with friends, help me grow this channel, will be much appreciated. Thank you very much. Apple, Doji, after breaking above this red trend line, Doji indecision, we might get some kind of a pullback. This red trend line will get retested as support together with the 167, and then we will see if bulls can hold this line before the next leg up. Below it, we have all the Fibonacci levels to the downside for future support. Amazon, trend lines are the true support resistance areas. And if you follow me on Twitter and you saw previous videos in the past few weeks or so, you know this purple trend line and you know that we talked about it, that once Amazon will break above the 100, it will have a rough time to break above this purple trend line. And here we are, touched, retraced. Now let's see if bulls of Amazon have enough power in their hands to break up and above towards the 117, above it 121 and 130. 100 need to hold. AMD, bullish momentum continuation on AMD. As we can see, above the 92 area, now 102 together with this white trend line will be next resistance. 91, 92 needs to hold, otherwise back to 83 and this white trend line. But as long as AMD is inside this uptrend channel, it's an uptrend until proven otherwise. This is why I always say trend lines and Fibonacci levels are the roadmap for future price action. As long as we know to identify the trend lines and to understand the in-depth relationship between candlestick analysis, trend lines, and Fibonacci levels, this is all we need. These are all the tools that we need to identify with high probability where price might be heading next. No other indicators are truly needed, not even volume. Check the links in the description below for more educational resources. First, we have the Fibonacci Academy playlist, 20 videos, each video 20 minutes or less, on how to improve our trading each and every day, technical side and the psychology side. If you want to take your trading journey to the next level, we have the Fibonacci-Traders 60 minutes crash course. We have the Fibonacci program online, 6 hours, 49 lessons, and we also have the one-on-one live mentorship program. Both programs, the online program and the mentorship program, lifetime access, support, guidance, all Discord channels, and my promise to you that you will become your own indicator. You will stop following others. You will follow others just for getting ideas, but you don't need anyone else to tell you what will happen next, because you will have all the tools that you need. Check the links in the description below. Google, very bullish week for Google. Next, we are going to the 122. Why? Look left. 122 resistance. So now, high probability 122, 123 will be resistance once again. Microsoft, 2 consecutive dojis on the weekly above the 305. Now let's see if 305 can hold. Failing to hold, we can be a little bit more accurate like this. The 303 needs to hold. Below it, 295. Long continuation above 312 towards 325, and maybe all-time highs at the 342. Follow price, use levels to manage your risk. Meta, 2 consecutive dojis between the uptrend purple line and the 245. This 245, as we said, once Meta will reach the 245, it will have a rough time to break up and above. Why? Only look left. June, July 2020, and then September, October, December, and January of 21, from resistance to support, now resistance. Long continuation above 245. Let's see if this purple trend line and the 222 will hold. Failing to hold, 207 and 192 to the downside. Netflix breaking above this short-term red trend line, but as we can see, let's clean the chart. 340, tough resistance, support, resistance, and once again tried and went back down, back below the 340, but look left. Netflix, uptrend channel, uptrend until proven otherwise. Let's see continuation, bounce, and continuation above the 340. Next will be the 372, 400, and maybe by the end of this year, Netflix is going towards the 500s. Nvidia, basically between March and Friday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of bouncing between the 263 and the 282. Doji, looks like bulls of Nvidia are getting weaker and weaker, which is perfectly fine after this bull run. Bulls need to hold above this red trend line, maybe a few weeks above this red trend line before the next leg up towards the upper yellow trend line. Shopify, last week, bullish run towards the 64. Now we have a doji indecision. We might get some retracement back to the 55, this 55 area, support, resistance. Shopify might retest this area as support before the next leg up, but we do have a gap at the 48. Look at the daily. Always zoom in, zoom out to get a better point of view on price action. And Shopify have this major gap to the downside at the 48. And we know that more than 80% of all gaps will get filled. So bear this in mind, this gap on Shopify to the downside. Tesla closed this gap that had at the 177. Now, let's see if 165 can hold once again. This 165 is a very important level of support, as you can see. Let's see if bulls of Tesla can hold this and break up and above the 177 towards the 192 and back to this white trend line with the 210. But you know, this gap will not give up. Bears of Tesla wants to fill this gap, and as long as this gap will not get filled, in my opinion, we will not get the next leg up towards this white trend line. All we have to do, follow price, use levels to the upside, to the downside, gaps and trend lines. All the rest is noise, and all the rest of the indicators are purely lagging. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, will be much appreciated. Don't forget to check the links in the description below for more educational resources. Until the next video, enjoy the rest of your weekend.